Hi guys! Welcome back to Spirit Chill. So, I decided I was just going to do my video indoors today since the weather's kind of crazy and it's been raining and flooding and my phone keeps going off for a flash flood, so I'm just not gonna bother. I mean, it's like sunny out right now, but it's been like off and on and the power's been flickering, so I'm just not gonna deal with it. Anyway, so, obviously, from the title, I wanted to talk about self love tips, self care tips, and just like what it means in general. I've talked about it before in like previous videos, but I kind of wanted to go into like more like details of like just what it really means to have self care and have like a nice self care routine, because really like ideally it's going to vary between person to person, because everyone has their own methods and different methods work for different people and different personality types. That's just my belief. But maybe all things work for all people and they just don't try them. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna go down that route though. I personally just think that everyone has their own type of routine that works best for them. Like, some people are more like, I guess, wordy, and some people are more hands-on. So like, my point is some people are more verbal, so they can learn better from people just telling them how to do things, and then other people learn better from people showing them how to do things, and it just depends on the person. Some people learn different. Anyway, so with that being said, I think my biggest, and I've talked about this, I think I have a few videos on this point, is really just having like a notebook. I feel like is probably like your best friend. And then like some people, like I said, some people use their phones instead of having a notebook. They'll have like their phone with like notifications and reminders and like on their calendar that'll tell them, oh, drink your coffee, uh, take the kids to school, get the kids ready for school, stuff like that. Like, they'll have like little timers that go off throughout the day, and that works better for them. Personally, I believe that's has a little more stress associated with it because there's more like time constraints, but honestly, some things are on time constraints. Some people have responsibilities like that, and they've created responsibilities, and it's just something that they have to balance and learn how to balance and work around. But that's a whole different topic. Anyway, so having like a good notebook, good reminders, good goals written down for you that help you, remember what it is that you have that you need to focus on, and just writing those things down. I'm pretty sure there's some psychology behind this about like just having, I believe it's nope, I had the word and then it lost me. I know that there's a term for it, but like when you write things down and you just kind of reiterate it and just recycle the information in your brain like over and over again, it becomes easier for you to remember what your goals are without having to look at that notebook. You just know what you need to do automatically. It's just stored better in your brain somehow that way. But having like a good list of goals, even long-term goals. Like, it doesn't have to be like, a day-to-day thing. You really don't have to have like a schedule every day, because personally I think that's a little stressful to have like a schedule. Personally, I like having a schedule. It really depends on how you go about it, where the stress comes, because stress uh that's like its own thing. So like my point is I have like a weekly routine, and like it says stuff like tea, smoothie on Monday, then I work out for an hour, and I haven't been consistent with this at all because I've moved recently, so I need to rewrite this or figure out how to go back into this schedule, but like you don't have to be specifically consistent with whatever you want to do. And honestly, I just feel like that just, I don't know, it takes away some of your freedom and your free mind, your free will thinking, and that alone creates stress just naturally because of the way we're created and the way we think. But I don't know. That's just a belief. But what you should do is have at least like some goals, like, you know, some long-term goals that you can work up to throughout the month, but also be realistic about these goals. Like, don't just write things like, oh, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds and stuff like that. Be a little wiser, like, you know, be creative with your list and work things out where you will actually do those things, such as like doing the smoothie thing, like writing down, like making smoothies, because that, like, just writing down like I'm gonna lose 30 pounds, that's a very broad goal, and it won't have any specifics for you, and it won't really create anything subconsciously for you, because the goal is to really create subconscious habits for yourself that create positive change. So what you would want to do is write down, like, have a smoothie every morning, because you know that you'll actually make a smoothie and that will actually, you know, be healthy for you and create, you know, like some good fiber for your diet or whatever, and help you digest throughout the day. But you know, just simple things like that, small things really make a big difference. And then moving on from having like lists and just goals and ideas set up for you, just having like even something for yourself, like something specific, like a business. Like, some people like will, like, for example, what I'm personally doing is doing a lot of art, and I'm trying to incorporate art and resin and be practical about what I'm doing and make it something where it's oriented to the customer, and it creates like a good positive energy for them, and in turn will create positive energy for me, because I'm an empath, and with that I have habits where I am a very like people pleasing type of personality is what I have. So I will, you know, go a little too far for people and drain my own energy. And what I've learned is to recognize those own traits about myself. So I kind of learn how to halt and stop doing that and take more time to put energy back into my own life through like my positive self-love routines and self-care tips that I do, such as like taking bubble salt baths with essential oils, and taking care of myself and doing my beauty care routine, my face care routine, and doing just the normal things that I do that I've learned, and it's taken a long time. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not telling you guys like just make these lists and things will start working out for you, because it doesn't really work out that way. I really wish it did, but it does take time. It takes shadow work. It takes, you know, really digging into your habits and, you know, looking yourself in the mirror and reflecting on what your personality traits are, and your toxic traits, and sometimes it's really hard to do, and it doesn't necessarily matter what type of person you are. It's just sometimes it's hard to look at yourself and really, you know, analyze the things that you do and try to break them down. And even if you have done that, it's hard to change those habits sometimes unless you really take in like effort, and even the effort sometimes can, you know, you can battle with that because of the way your personality is. So, you know, it takes time and it takes effort, don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying that it's hard either. Like, you just want to be consistent with what you're doing when you're doing your self care and your self love routines and everything. You just want to make sure you're consistent. Consistency is your biggest key with anything, is being consistent and really reflecting on yourself and being there for yourself. Because the biggest thing with affirmations and white magic, black magic, whatever your kick is, like you have to set intention. Like intent is the biggest thing with magic and spellcraft, anything. If you really want to create something and have something happen for you, you have to set the right intentions. So when you create more and more intentions and you direct all of those intentions towards these goals or whatever whatever your aim and focus is, you want to create all intent towards that goal and that focus. So you have to do different things, and doing different things and incorporating those things together really helps, and it just makes that magic stronger for you and those affirmations stronger for you. So just keep that in mind when you're doing things. Like the more you do it, the more energy you put towards something, the more you're going to get out of that. So just, remember that whenever you're trying to make something happen for yourself. It doesn't just happen out of thin air. I really wish magic worked that way, but it doesn't. It works through intent. So, you also have to do things in the real world if you want that thing to happen. You have to put intent and energy and focus towards that, and more of that energy will manifest towards you. So just keep that in mind. Now, moving on to the next point. Actually, let me get some of my tea. I forgot I made tea. Or actually, let me go back to a different point that I made about having like the goals and like what I was talking about with doing art and using that towards a business so I can create money and more energy out of what I want to work with and do. Like creating like healthy habits that you have to use, you're sort of forced to use your focus and energy on it. It will be a therapy in itself because you're forced to put your energy and focus towards something in order to achieve a better goal. And something I've really noticed this with is me trying to learn how to do digital art. I don't have the money to go to school, and I've personally have just been learning from word of mouth and from my dad just teaching me and showing me tips and tricks. So I've been having to put a lot of effort and energy in drawing on my notepad, and that in itself, I personally have a very my mind races 24/7. Well, I have a bad habit of that happening. It doesn't happen 24/7, but I do tend to get into this I guess mindset or just mind space where I'm just constantly thinking, overthinking about something or just things in general, and so my mind will just race and wander. And so that can create stress for me and can just create a toxic and negative environment, and then that itself will just have like a ripple domino effect where more toxic energy will create out of thin air from that. So, what I've noticed with doing like the digital art, having to put my energy and focus on that specific thing and really like watching my fine detail and making sure I'm really paying attention to what I'm doing, it really I've really noticed how much it really clears my mind. And I know it sounds like simple and mundane, like of course that would happen, but it's little things like that where you really don't you tend to not even notice uh things to just kind of lift off of your shoulders when you're doing certain things. And some things really it depends. Some things click for different people, and like jewelry crafting, like wire wrapping, things like that, or searching for crystals and just kind of hunting out in the wild for like bones and stuff. Like certain things will put people in a zone, in a mind frame, and you really got to find these things for yourself, because like I said, everyone's different. Everyone has their own perspective in life, and their energy is created from different sources, and some people just vibe with the different things, and it's really great to connect with different things, and if you find something that you vibe with, like take note of that. Like really pay attention to that energy that you've been given from, whatever it is that you're doing. Even if it's something when it seems like something mundane, like, doing your makeup, or making something like food or whatever, like even if it seems something small, like just take note of that, because when you're given an energy from, whatever it is, like respect that, because you can really use that for your advantage and turn that into something that could make positively possibly make you money, or just be a good environment for you to recharge your energy. So just keep those types of things in mind when, when you're looking for self-care or self-love, because that sort of thing really contributes to that type of energy and recharging your own energy. Now, things that are more obvious, like your diet, is a really big one. Making sure you're eating the right things and you're eating, you know, good, nutritious meals, and you're eating enough throughout the day, even. That's a really big one, and it's actually a really common one that we don't ever seem to focus on. Is, what we put into our body really, really determines the energy that's created in our body. So, like, when you're just eating toxic, crappy food 24/7, like, your stomach hurts 24/7, and that in itself will create a negative psychology for you, and just and again have a ripple effect. So you're having a bad stomach 24/7, and you're always in constant pain, and it just creates bad energy all around. So really recognizing these sort of things really make a big difference. And the biggest thing I can really tell you is to make these little steps for you, and things that are practical and logical, and really making sure that you're looking at yourself and doing your own shadow work to create better habits for yourself, because all of this, again, with intent and your subconscious, it dives into your subconscious. Like, the more you change your subconscious habits, the better you just become all around in general, and it just becomes a natural thing for you, and something that you don't have to stress or worry about. It just becomes something that becomes a part of your regular routine, your daily life, and in turn just has a positive effect for you, and a positive ripple effect. So it's all about what your outcome, your end game is, what your goal is. Do you want to have a better positive attitude towards everything and have more positive energy come towards you, or do you just want to stay in this negative bubble and just continue these negative habits that don't really do you any good? They just continue to create lazy habits for you. I mean, it's all you. I mean, you're watching this video because you're watching this video, right? So, yeah, make the decision for yourself. That's all I can say, because you are the only person that can make that decision. And when you finally make that decision for yourself, then things are going to work out better for you. I promise. Now, another really good one, and it seems really mundane, and I've talked about it before, is affirmations. And I really watched a really cute video just yesterday on TikTok about this. A mom was in the car, uh, with her son in a car seat. Her son was in a car seat in the back seat in a car. and she was practicing her affirmations with him, or having him practice his affirmations and telling him, um, to say things like, I'm strong and I'm smart and I'm healthy, and things like that. And having him, repeat these things over and over again creates a better mindset for him subconsciously. Like, he doesn't know exactly why he's doing these things, but subconsciously they're triggered and stored in his brain. Especially as a child, a small child, we really remember things as subconsciously. I know there's some like research behind it. I don't personally know too much about it, so I'm not going to give you any misinformation. But I know there's some psychology behind that. We learn a lot more subconsciously as children. So I thought that was really neat, and it's actually a really good point with affirmations and why we do affirmations and write things down, in like just even in a notebook, or we do affirmation meditation where we're listening to theta waves, or what is it called, a subliminal message, music, subliminal music. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. That's a really good one too that you can use, that will like say, it will have music and then affirmations playing in like the background that get, I don't know how it works, but it subconsciously gets stored in your brain, and it's just there somewhere. I don't know, it's like one of those memory things where, we remember things, but, it's just stored in our brain somewhere for us to remember, and I don't know, pick a file out later. I don't know how our brains work, but for some reason it works that way. So that's a really good point with affirmations, and why we write things down, and why repeating things and triggers your subconscious and trains your subconscious to have more positive attitudes and positive traits. Now, a really big one, and this will be kind of a sensitive topic because I'm not going to tell you to not hang out with your friends. I'm not going to tell you to change the people that you hang out with, but being around certain energy and really just being able to recognize that energy and create boundaries for yourself energetically is something to really look into as far as self-love and self-care, because the people we have around us can really be narcissistic, or just have toxic habits that have effects on us, and not necessarily means anything bad about them, or that they should change themselves, or that you should just completely cut them out of your life. But you should really recognize that type of energy and what effect it has on you personally, because creating energy boundaries, and what I mean by energy boundaries is not necessarily just putting boundaries around that person and just, telling them, well, I'm not going to deal with you if you're, doing this sort of thing. What you want to do with that sort of, and that's like a whole, I'll have to make a whole other video about that sort of thing. With boundaries, with energy boundaries, what you really want to do is be upfront with people and communicate what you need to in order to have a healthy relationship with that person. So, like I said, it's really gonna have to be its own video with this sort of thing, with creating boundaries with people. That's a really big topic, but making sure that you're not just putting up with people and, their toxic traits, but you are still accepting them for who they are and letting them be their own person, but also recognizing what that energy has an effect on you, and just acknowledging that and making sure you're, taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, because we can't change the people around us, and that's always going to have conflict because people's energy is really going to depend on themselves, and people are going to change what they want to change about themselves, but you also have to help them, by acknowledging, you know, that what they're doing has a negative effect on you, and letting them know and communicating that is a very healthy attribute. It's good for you, and it's also good for them to communicate, what's going on. Because sometimes they can't acknowledge, they don't see what they're doing, and see what they're doing is, toxic or negative or whatever. And having this communication with somebody can really, it can have some positive effect and some positive change where they still, where they might actually acknowledge and, make some effort towards changing whatever that is. But, again, that's a whole different topic. But, recognizing the energy around you and the energy that's coming in is a very big one, because the energy around us really, it has everything to do with what goes on with us internally. So, making sure you're acknowledging what type of energy and what type of people are in your life, that will kind of show you more about yourself as well, because again, having putting that energy out into the world brings energy, the same type of energy, back towards you. So when you recognize your environment and you kind of reflect on that, then you can see and learn a lot about yourself as well, and put more effort towards whatever you're trying to change, or whatever your goal is. So that's another really big one. And then kind of delving into your environment again, not necessarily the same thing. This more has to do with like your, how clean your room and your energy space is, like your bathroom, your house in general, and even just your car and just your like local environment, your day-to-day life, how clean that area is, and having your own energy space. Like I personally have like a craft room. That's what I'm in right now. This is where I stream, I make things, I dance, I hang out, and I do yoga and meditate. So this is just like my positive energy space. So I tried to keep it as clean as possible and keep things that make me happy in here as much as possible. So like I'm always burning incense, I always have like essential oils running in my diffuser, and I just always have like tea and my smoking instruments in here and all of that sort of thing. All of that, it stays in my local environment. So it's just something that helps keep me in a positive mind frame. And again, things like this are small things, and they aren't necessarily always going to make you happy, but they really add up. Like I say, they all have a sort of ripple effect. So when you're, in a negative environment 24/7, in a trashy room 24/7, then it's just going to create bad energy in general and have that ripple effect, and vice versa. When you have a clean room, it can kind of just, you have a lot less stress on your shoulder too, because you're already in a clean room. Hey, I don't have to clean this room, I don't have to worry about that. That's one less thing on my plate. And it's just, it's nice. It's a nice energy space. It has like posters and stuff that, with things that you relate to and things that make you happy, or cute pictures or whatever it is. Like, design your room around things that make you happy, and that will have a good energy variable for you as well. So like I say, it really seems like mundane, simple, small things, but really these things add up, and they just kind of subconsciously change your mindset, like your overall mindset. So when that happens, there's a lot less that you have to really do to make effort. towards, you know, being positive. So it becomes a natural thing. It's not something that's forced ever. And that's what you want. You don't want something that's forced, because it's not natural. It's not going to make you feel good. It's just going to feel forced. So keep that in mind. And I don't know. There's a lot I could really talk about with self-care and self-love routines, because there's so many different things that we really can do, like cooking certain foods, brushing your teeth even. I know it seems stupid and small, but these little things can really change your mindset, because some people have like really positive, like a really strong mindset about their teeth and like to have a really nice smile. It's just something that's their kick. It's what they like. It's what makes them happy, and you know, go them. That's their thing. And having making sure you're just working with different things. I'll personally, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'll personally probably have in my Gilded server an actual self-care like blog, or maybe like book even. Maybe I'll write a book about this. I've been thinking about writing a book anyway. I don't do much these days. But anyway, maybe I'll write like a self-guide for you to do like your own self-care and self-love routine, and designing your own to suit your own energy. I'll like build a guide for you guys to use for yourself. So it's gonna be more of like a personal thing. It won't be like you just listening to somebody talk about what they do to make themselves happy, because that's not gonna make you happy. You're gonna make yourself happy. I love you. Anyway, so that's basically what I wanted to talk about. I could really rant on about this forever, but I won't, because I can hear myself getting off topic. I'm trying not to do that anymore. So that's basically it. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll talk about it in the next video. Bye!